This video's going to show you solo Grandmaster Nightfall getting Platinum rank, which the weekly feature GM this week is Glassway. Grandmaster Nightfall's at 2040 in power, like I told you last week. The activity power cap is 2020. I done mine at a minus 29 delta. I was 2011 in power, to confirm it to you. I'm going to go really quick with this commentary, so you need to keep up. Modifiers. We have Solar Surge, Void Surge, right? And all the general stuff that you would have for Glassway. So Overload, Champs, Barrier. We've got increased Vanguard rank, double Nightfall rewards, and all your general Nightfall GM modifiers that we've been used to for the last 10, 20 years are in the damn game. So the build, follow it quick, because I've got to go quick. Song of Flame Super, Healing Rift, Arcane Needle, Storm Grenade, Aspects for Feed the Void, Bleak Watcher, Fragments Was, Facet of Dominance, Balance, Protection, Courage, Dawn. Should I go over it again? Dominance, Balance, Protection, Courage, Dawn. It's clear to you, I admit it, absolute certainly clear to you what the damn fragments are. Weapon-wise, we use the Call, a Strand, Rocket Sidearm, La Monarch for Overload Champions, and a bait and switch Pro Memoria. Go and craft it. If you haven't crafted this, go and do that right now, and then come back. The rewards was this, something or other, Adept, LFR, Rapid Hit Bait and Switch I got. Looks interesting, but, oh, it's Adaptive Burst, all right. I had no idea, I haven't looked, double-checked the API, roles and be right on it and say, this is what the God role is. I'm not bothered, I'm more bothered about this solo GM clear. So, modifiers are on the screen. Enhance your void stuff on your chest plate. Make sure you're running double void resist concussive dampener, and make sure that you've got scavenger mods on and some decent build. I'm using Getaway Artist obviously for this. So that is the commentary on the initial stuff. So on with the run. So this is going to be my first shot with commentary on this. I'm not, as I say, spending too much time on this because I've got stuff going on. So this was just a one and done thing. And this was my first clear, by the way. So as soon as I launched this up, right, this was my first clear in terms of with this loadout. Because I tried a Cold Steel Sword before this. Whilst it worked well, I figured that this would be better overall, and it ended up being that this is the better choice rather than using a Disrupting Blade sword. And I'll go into that, exactly why that was the case. And it's exclusive to the Warlock run. No, so don't quote me and say, well, swords are good in this. You know that I've said that in the past. But for this particular loadout, it's better not using a sword. And we'll go into why that is. Look at that. We've got a bait and switch LMG. Now, I referenced this machine gun last week, and none of you sort of got on top with that. I don't know what's wrong with some people. Do you not realize how good this LMG is? You need to craft it. It's actually more important than the Call. Like, if you had to pick between the Call and the machine gun to craft, you'll have, chances are you have the Call anyways, a legendary version, a non-crafted version, and because of how good the roll is on Pro Memoria, if you don't have Song of Ayut, this is a must craft. I should have made a video about it last week, but I've been too busy with my second channel. You got it right. I'm actually doing 2 YouTube channels now. So I've got this one you see here, and I've got another second channel to reset all my stuff, which at times when this run is slow, I'll talk about it a little bit and my future plans for it all. So we consume our turret right on the top. Obviously we're using Getaway Artist. You should know the Getaway Artist build by now. If not, I'll remind you. When you pop your arc grenade, you get 2 things. A arc soul and a turret. The turret cannot be placed. It just pops up close to you. So you need to make sure that you're getting your turrets in the right location. Right? Now, I like on this bit to deal with the ads first, then the overload. I have an option, by the way, of overloading champs with a storm grenade because of Facet of Dominance. That didn't end up being too much of a factor, and I would probably take Facet of Dominance off on the next run, but there isn't going to be a next run. Not tonight, at least. You know, tonight it won't be. I've only got time for this run and to edit this one. That is it for today. And tomorrow I probably won't do a solo GM either. Maybe Thursday, if I'm still interested to play. We'll see. So, we've got barrier champs, but there's no barrier weapon on. So how am I doing this? I have Radiant via my melee. So the basic basics is that we're going to rely on our free melee charge for barriers, which sounds worrying, but it's not as bad as you would think because of the bait and switch LMG and because of the rocket sidearm. So you might think, oh, well, this is less consistent, and it isn't, because barrier champs aren't the problem. Overload champs are, and it's overload hand cannon this season, yeah, and it's barrier pulse. Now you could say run outbreak, but I think for like first clears, the Monarch's a little bit better for more consistency with overloads. Whereas if you use outbreak perfected, you're gonna have to rely on a sword or a hand cannon, right? No, we do have our turret to stun as well, but I just, as I say, with Glassway, muscle memory and all that stuff from the past, I just went with Le Monarch because we can stun overloads round corners. Whether it's the quickest run, no, definitely not. This was a long run by me. Generally, on average, it takes me 30 to 40 minutes to clear a solo GM Glassway. Why did this run take longer? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I played slightly more passive to get this done on my first clear with this loadout, because I didn't have time tonight, and also I'm running this at a minus 30 delta, or minus 29 to be exact, but let's round it up and say minus 30. So this is more than what a standard GM would be, because I'm nowhere near level 2015. I'm by the way, I'm max gear score, 2000 pinnacle score, but my artifact power is nowhere near where it needs to be. But you know something, last week I just gave up farming XP because of the video that I made and showed you about. I just couldn't be bothered. It's like, you know what, I'm going to accept to play GMs at a minus 30 delta because I've got it in me to do them anyways like that. That's fine. I can do them at minus 40 delta. So I chose, as a player, to do GMs solo harder as opposed to farming XP. Does that tell you as a player how bad the XP system is in this game? Right? It really has come to the point where like they should have reworked the power system for final ship, and they didn't. And it's a huge disaster for me. I don't know about you. I'm not interested in you. I'm interested in me. As in when I'm playing. I know that some of you are going to say, well, I like the leveling system. Good for you, dude. Fair enough. But for me as a player, I hate this system. I really despise it. I've started to get really salty about it because I'm sick to death of leveling with XP with the way it is. Right? I've done too many seasons. I've done too much time with this game since 2019 to like care anymore about this stuff. So I'm just slowly starting to not care about the level system in Destiny 2 until they give us a dedicated level, a dedicated way to level up in the game that feels healthy, and it's not 2019. We are 2024 going on to 2025. We want new systems, and it needs to be in D2 Frontiers then, if that's the case. Right, whatever the hell that freaking IP is. It's not even a new IP, is it? It's just Destiny 2. So, but, alright, you need to make it, but they should have done it for Final Ship. Final Ship was a major final expansion for the Light and Dark Saga. This would have been a good time to rework power level systems, because it's obvious that they're sticking with D2 formula. Right, if they are, then make sure that you rework your power level along with it then. Yeah? But they haven't. So, honestly, it is a pet peeve of mine, but this affects players at the top, I think, more than casuals. As in, I don't mean I'm at the top, because I'm certainly not, but I'm just saying the players that play this day in, day out. It's upsetting those the most, I think. For players who play 6 hours a week, it's not affecting you that much. It is affecting, honestly, the quality of my life in this game is poor because of XP, because of the leveling system, because of the hard work that you have to put into with it. And it has been sheer fucking hard work for the last 4 or 5 years, and you can't deny that from me. I have put in the work, and it's like, it's getting to the point like, okay, we're putting in the work, but for what? To run a GM 2 minutes quicker? To run this a little bit quicker? To be time gated for every 100 ranks, then 50 ranks per act? Right? What's the point, man? We need to get somewhere. The train's stopped. Where are we going with the leveling? The leveling needs to be good in a game like this, because whilst it's not an RPG, whilst it's not an online MMO in the strict respect, it does borrow those aspects from a game. So the leveling needs to be bob on. It needs to be bob on, and it needs to evolve over time, and it hasn't evolved. That is my frustration with the game. The leveling. Final Shape campaign was amazing. Obviously, the raid race was amazing, but we've gone past that now with week 3, week 4, whatever. Yeah. So that stuff's going to be on the back burners now. We've experienced that. What's next? Oh, episode echoes. Right. So I'm now going to fall asleep when I play it. Type deal. Well, I'm not, because I've got a contingency plan in place, which I'm going to talk about at length when we get near the boss fight. So as you can see, this gameplay, it speaks for itself. We are fighting from this rock here, but did you notice at the start of it, we pulled back to kill the snipers because this guy, what's his name, Technocrats, has the ability to freeze us. But the interesting thing about him is when his allies, not ours, in lower number, he pushes back, which means he doesn't do his Duskfield nades. Because if you remember, he does Duskfield grenades. If he forces you out of cover with a Duskfield grenade, you will get sniped and die in GM, especially at a minus 30 delta GM. So this is the way around that, is to fin the enemy troops, then push up to that rock, then do chip damage with the Monarch. Don't do LMG damage because you're going to experience range drop off. So manage your ammo. And then we can push up and pop in the barrier, spawn in the barrier and the ads. So we're going to do a Transcendence here, right? Because we have it to spend, right? I'm not going to be stacking Transcendence too much with the super. You're not going to see me do that. You're going to see me use it separately because you don't need to stack Transcendence with Song of Flame in that respect, because it doesn't matter too much. What matters is the length of time that you are in Transcendence and a Song of Flame separate, because that's more uptime of resistance, because I've got a facet of protection on that gives us resistance when we are in Transcendence. We also have resistance when we have our super, so that's a longer uptime of resistance against combatants. Don't worry about DPS. We are not in a raid check, right? Don't get it confused. We're not in a raid check environment. We are in burst damage environment. Yes, that's correctly true to an extent, but we supplement that with using the bait and switch LMG. Now, I even think it's better than a bait and switch heavy GL, because of its ammo economy. This LMG is by far within the top 3 or top 2 LMGs in the game, without a doubt, for solo play. Is it the highest DPS? No, it isn't. But I'm not on those charts. I'm looking at durability, utility, guns, right? In solo GM environment, boom, this ticks all the boxes. Don't you understand? I have a tick box exercise before I run the GM, and I run through that tick box exercise, and Pro Memoria ticked all those boxes before I even ran the GM, because I knew from testing it last week that this LMG was going to be absolutely melting, and it is. And like I say, you're going to see the damage that it does. It really does do that good burst damage, and it's nicely paired with the call. It's nicely paired. They're both strand weapons, so they're both going to take advantage of strand scav. So it's 2 for 1 there, and call is just a really good gun. But it isn't. It's the only thing unfortunate is that there's not barrier sidearm this season. If it was barrier sidearm, this would be absolutely fantastic. Well, it is anyways. It is fantastic. Let's say it's a 9 out of 10, but with barrier sidearm, it's a 10. But we haven't got barrier sidearm. We had it last season. That is what it is. So Overlord is pushed over the other side. Sometimes he doesn't do this, but this is the piece of cover that I choose. All right, I don't fight anywhere else on this particular part, because again, we want to fin the enemy troops. The mechanic of finning the enemy troops. If you do this, you can control Overlords easier. This applies to when you're within the combatant distance of snipers and stuff. But if you are out of their combatant distance and you can reliably stun an Overlord, then you can take the Overlord first. But that's in that case scenario. But if we're in a scenario of 20 to 30 meters outside of that range and you're getting sniped, you're getting naded, it's better. Don't you think it's better to take out the damn snipers before the Overlord? Work methodical. Work methodical, right? Right. I always get told that. Like in real life, I have this uncle, right? He doesn't play games, but he works methodical in real life. He does everything so methodical. You can do that in a game as well. Be tidy with your gameplays. I see a lot of you very untidy which is gameplay, and not methodical enough. Like, strategize it. You're in GM content. You don't need to speedrun, so to speak. You're playing from range. What's the best thing to do? Just stop for a second and think, rather than trying to melt down a champ. Hang on a sec. Let's think about this a second. Right, what is the best thing to do? Oh, it's to be methodical, like what I said. So make sure that you're methodical. Like right here, we're being methodical because we've got a piece of cover. Look, I'm focusing the ads first. I'm not focusing the snipes, right? So let me off with that. But I will, in my defense, the snipers are sort of not hitting us. They are sniping my active cover. You can see that. But look at the strafe. The strafe game's on point, meaning that we've got an angle on this champ and the snipers do not have an angle on me. So in that actual exact instance, it's better to then melt the overload after the imminent enemies around him are killed, which they were. Then we work on the snipers and then we're done. It's Void Surge, by the way, and Solar Surge. So this week is actually probably the best surges to do this GM on. So if you want to solo the GM, do it this week. But I fear for your life if you're low in power. If you're not 2,000 power or above, I don't think you can launch it at 2,000. You can't launch it in the 90s. You have to be minimum power 2,000. So I bet that I would love to see the stats on this, but I bet it locks out probably 60-70% of the player base just because of power level. Like, this is hilarious. Why have we got GMs week 3 or week 4 or whatever? I've lost track of weeks. I don't know what day it is. What week are we on here? Is it week 4? I have no idea, but look. It's going to lock out so many players for the solo GM right away. Now, it won't lock them out for Fireteam play. It won't lock them out for that because you just pick some high-level Guardian and you get out of them. But frickin' anyone in the 1980s and 90s, boom, you can't solo GM. Sorry, my friend. You'll have to wait. You'll have to go and do some grinding that you don't want to do. We know you don't want to play them damn milestones, but you're going to have to. Play the game. That's the name of the game. This is why I done all the leveling week 1 and 2 because I knew what was happening. Well, I didn't know we were going to get GMs so soon, but I did know they're pushing things in final shape for, like, they don't care about time gate and stuff. As in, like, they're giving you everything front loaded to make sure the final shape does well. But that's kind of annoying because no one's high enough to do some of this stuff. They haven't given us enough time. They never give you enough time on the world's first race, neither. Would you launch them 3 days after launch, with one of the days being server downtime? Yeah. So they've done it with that. They've give you Master Salvation's raid. They've give you Grandmasters early. They're just trying to front load everything. But that's good and all. But the power level requirements are so high. This just alienates your player base. This is all that is doing. It's even alienating me. And I've been a D2 freak, let's be honest, over the years. I've been a bit freaky with D2, haven't I? I'm not as freaky now. I've calmed the reins in. I don't do as much freaky stuff. But I've done some freaky stuff. Now, they're upsetting me. So if they're upsetting me, who else are they upsetting? They're definitely upsetting players. 100%. Not specifically with Final Shape. It's the core game issues. It's the same old stuff. It's the episodes. All that stuff. It's just tat. It's filler. You ever watch an anime? It's filler. So you get 3 months, 1 to 3 months of good Destiny 2 content and 9 months of filler. Do you want filler? Well, if you're a fanatic, you do. But if you're not a fanatic, you don't want filler. So just go and play something else and then come back when it's hot. The thing is about that is, though, you're going to be behind on God roll farming. So they've got you. They've got you there, right? So if you stop playing and you come back, you're not prepared, whereas somebody who's grinded all year is prepared, or more prepared than what you are. So we're going to push up to this area here. Overload needs to be killed first, of course. We're going to get a turret down, and we will pop a Transcendence. I think that's what I end up doing. You could pop Super here, by the way, but I actually ended up just popping Transcendence. I wanted to save Super and use it on Barrier, but I sort of had a mental breakdown and didn't pop it on Barrier for some reason. You'll see coming up, but I recommend that you do pop your Super because you get Radiant, which allows you to stun Barrier champs. Song of Flames insane as a substitute barrier capability of breaking shields. Barrier champs, that is. So You need to use Song of Flame in that sense when you're struggling on barriers. You also need to use it for overloads when you get a turret down, and I'll explain it all as we go. Like I said, this isn't as bad as you think it is by not using a barrier weapon, because the upside, there's a massive upside. The upside is that we have a rocket sidearm on. That is an exotic weapon in itself. It's the legendary's rarity. The rarity of the weapon is legendary, but it's not though, is it? Rocket sidearms are literally the power of power of an exotic. They're literally to that power level in terms of the usage and their utility, because they just do everything brilliant. It's just as simple as that. There's no downside to using a rocket sidearm. I can't see any downside to not using them. That's why the Call is the most used weapon in the game, because it was given out for free via the Final Shape campaign, right? We've had Indebted Kindness for months, but it's terrible to farm it unless people are playing the dungeons and raids, etc. And yeah, Indebted Kindness is via Warlord's Ruin, but just it's not that, it's quite rare to get it. Like, you can farm it, but most players play Warlord's Ruin once, twice, if ever, and if they don't get it. So that's why the Call supersedes Indebted Kindness, because Call is easier to get than what Indebted Kindness is. And not to mention, you can craft Call, which makes it better for that reason. I know Indebted Kindness has Vault Shot, but even higher, I've never had an Indebted Kindness with Vault Shot yet. After months of getting rolls upon rolls upon rolls, I still haven't got a damn Vault Shot Indebted Kindness. So you know what ends up happening? I just use my Deconstruct one. I just say, you know what? I'll use my Deconstruct one, and it does everything that I want it to. Apart from Vault Shot being able to stun overloads, yeah, fair enough, but you know, that's fine. I'm happy enough. We've got a turret that can stun overloads, so I think I'm good. So this barrier, we were trying to take him from a distance. We get Radiant. Look at the Radiant. We do get it, but what I should have done there is swap to my LMG. I think I've got Radiant here as well, so I wonder what ends up happening. Yeah, because the damn barrier is... The barrier played so good there. I did nothing wrong there. The barrier kept porting left and right, and my Radiant ran out by the time he would normally shield. So that particular instance, the barrier outplayed me. Very tactical. So I could pop Super here, by the way, and farm one up at the Overload, which is what I should have done, because I would have got Radiant. But it's not a bother, because we end up just taking him out anyways, and there's no challenge really until the boss fight anyways. And Glassway can be scary. It can be a scary time, but if you know what you're doing, you know, then you may get this first try like me on this loadout. Seriously, it's absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I did test a Cold Steel Sword, and I wasn't happy with the results, so I backed out and then went with the bait and switch LMG. Cold Steel does work, by the way. It does increase slow stacks, but then you've got a sword on for the entire GM. Do you get it? The sword isn't going to help with Rivens. It's not going to help with stuff like that. So I think in this case, because of the super and the transcendence that the Warlock has on Prismatic, it makes it that you don't need the overload so much. As much. You know, you don't need... you don't need the sword to defend yourself as much as what I used to do, my old GM strat with Glassway. Look at that. By the way, the ads, when the AI is upped of the ads on Grandmaster, they have a higher chance of destroying your turret. Right? Now, I saw that a few times in this run where the boss was shooting down my turret. Quite often. And champs were shooting them down. I have an answer to that for the overloads, especially the Vex ones. But, like, for the boss and stuff, yeah, you just keep shooting you down your turret. The AI seems to be upped for that. There was things where the enemies would shoot your turret down, but not as frequent as this. Very frequently it happens. But anyways, we're fighting on the left-hand side. This is how you play Glassway. You will get it done first try if you follow the steps. So look, we're playing passive-aggressive, as in we're letting the enemies see us. Look, let the enemy see you. I popped Transcendence by accident. I was meant to get a turret down, but that's fine, because Transcendence, the nade, will actually stun a Overload. So there was a slight mistake, but I actually popped my Transcendence by accident. You know what it is? Because I've been playing other games this week, so I've come back to Destiny and I've been pressing some buttons that I shouldn't be, but that's fine. So we've used the Transcendence. We still killed an Overload out of it, so I'm happy enough with that. But I would have preferred to have got a turret down first, and then do it like that. But That also works. Popping a Transcendence and throwing a nade round a corner will kill an Overlord. What I found Transcendence not to be good with is killing barrier champs or freezing them, which the nade does freeze, but it just wasn't freezing the champs quick enough. So, because bear in mind, this is the first time I've tested Prismatic Warlock on a GM. So I was like expecting the nade to do more for me. Not the turret nade, but the Prismatic nade, and it just didn't do it for me. So that's just to let you know about that. So don't rely on that. So we're searching for that Overlord. We're searching for that. Here we go, bait and switch. See, why this is so good is because Le Monarch counts for bait and switch. So even though it's been a hot minute since I stung the Overlord with Le Monarch, the poison's still ticking. So that will count for the bait and switch because I swap to the call, then swap to the LMG, melt down the champ. That is the strat. And it works as long as you've got your turret up. It will work. If that champ is not frozen or have slow stacks attached to the champ, then the champ's going to get you. So you need to be sort of cautious that way. Now, sometimes one champ will push and then the other one will later on like this, or sometimes they push as a pair. You want them to push as a pair if you decide to super them, because one super with Song of Flame will equal 2 Overlords killed, which is so valuable in this. I can't understand. I think Song of Flame is the best super in the game for Grandmaster Nightfalls. Because it's a first-person super, right? Well, you can stun with your weapon while you're in your super. No other Roman super can do this, unless it's like Chaos Reach for Overlords, but that's not exactly what I'm saying. Again, passive-aggressive, let the enemy see us, get a nade down, get a healing rift down, let the turret do your work, pop super. Exactly like this. Look at this. This is perfect gameplay. It is textbook GM, King, Song of Flame, Master Disciple gameplay. There you go. That's what I'm on about, with the Song of Flame being the best super in the game for utility for GMs, especially solo GMs, or if we add that prefix. So the adds and the champs are located, or they're directed by the Hydra. The mini Hydra controls a lot of this. So obviously the second set of Overlords spawn in once I dealt enough damage to the Hydra, but I didn't send the Hydra away, right, to get him to a third, like rush to get him away, then kill the second Overlord. What was more important in this situation was to get the Hydra weak enough so that I immediately turn around and play passive-aggressive against the Overlords. I need to funnel them into that corridor. If you don't funnel them, you are up against RNG then. Because what's going to happen is the Overlords aren't going to know where you are, and they're going to scout the area and split up, which is not good for you because you've got no damn radar. All you've got is footsteps. You've got to listen for their footsteps round corners. Do you really want to be that instance? Because you can definitely get in a bad way with Glassway, where you're like, was that an Overlord walking around the corner? That's what ends up happening to you. You start to become slightly paranoid when there's one Overlord left up, but you don't know where the damn thing is. So be careful of getting into that situation. And if you do, and you think the Overlord's around the corner, use an emote to look round the corner, because this won't set off the Overlord. Whereas if you strafe out of cover and the Overlord sees you, he's enraged. That's it. He's going to chase you and chase you and chase you, and you don't want to be in that situation. Control the Overlords. If you do know that he's round that corner, pop a turret, then show yourself, and the turret will at least slow him up, and then you can do your handiwork with your bait and switch machine gun. So as I said, if you're watching this video, you need to go and craft this damn bait and switch machine gun, or use Song of Aeud from the Crota's End raid, because that has bait and switch on it as well. But I think because of the archetype of Pro Memoria, it's a better archetype than any other LMG. It's an aggressive frame machine gun, the first of its kind, and it is a better archetype than high impact, rapid fire frames and adaptive frames. I don't know the absolute official test on that, but me feeling the gun and the community's reaction to this gun, when it came out, everyone was using it. Why? Well, it must be good. We don't need a test for that. The stats will tell you that. Everyone was using Pro Memoria week 1, week 2, once you got it off Micah. Why? Well, because it's good. It's melting. Yeah? So that's exactly why. I knew straight away this machine gun's good and you can craft it. And once I found out it comes with Reconstruction and bait and switch, I was like, oh man, it's over. All LMGs are over. Say goodbye to corrective measure. Say goodbye to commemoration. Yeah? Say goodbye to any LMG you can fit in that sentence. Because now we've got this aggressive frame LMG that just feels so good. And its ammo economy's really good as well. So look at this head glitch that we're doing. You can do DPS from here, but pay attention to your HP. Sometimes the boss can strafe a little bit too far forward, and hit you with the Void Blasts. Remember, it's Void Burn. Void Burn, the boss melts. Rivens hurt. They will kill you so quick you can't think about it. Their TTK on a Guardian is 0.48 seconds. Within optimal range for them. And if there's a damn wall behind you, it's 0.25 TTK kill. Yeah, that they just eat you up. But if you've got a Song of Flame, they're like, what? It's game over. Riven's weakness, Song of Flame. Really easy. So get the boss to a third. That triggers the next reinforcement. Again, we need to get to our funnel in place. We need to get to our passive aggressive location, and we need to put in chip damage to these Rivens. Don't pop super though until you know that those Rivens are going to come in here, because this damn Hydra gets stuck with the Rivens. So you need to let the Rivens so I can see the Riven around the corner, so we'll pop super. We've got a turret down, and that's it. It's just party time. It's over. It's game over. It makes it so consistent that we've got this super. Now, you know that I ran a Glassway on Master. Was it Master or Legend? I can't mind. I think it was it Master? I think it might have been Master. I ran it. No, it was week 1. It wasn't Master, was it? It was the was it Expert? I can't mind which damn difficult it was. But I ran it week 1, and I knew straight away that this Song of Flame would melt Rivens when using it instantly. Like, this is gonna be so good, because think about a T-Crash. If you use Thunder Crash on a Riven, you'll kill one and the other one will kill you. You use Dawn Chorus, right, on a Daybreak Dawnblade, the super will not, it might not kill both of them, and it won't last as long as Song of Flame. So it's just, as I say, a big upside just to use Song of Flame, basically. Nova Bomb for when you want to weaken targets. That's for more dungeon gameplay. But for gameplay like this, Song of Flame. So look at the strat. We get a turret down, then the bait and switch. But we prep champ, so you've got to prep them, get a Arcane Needle off to proc Radiant. So basically you're going to get one shield break. Sometimes it can fail on you. Like, I think, do I fail it here? There's a couple of instances where I do. Yeah, I think I do fail it. So this is where it can fail. I should have melee'd there earlier. I had a melee charge. I don't know why I didn't. But that's fine. Our stasis turret, to be fair, the first one was starting to run out, so I should have refreshed. But that's where it can fail on you. But this is the perfect scenario that I'm doing right here. So you need to get a fresh turret down. So this is going to work barrier per barrier basis. But if you're a competent Warlock, this will be fine for you. If not, then run a barrier weapon in your kinetic slot and get call off. Because call's not, you don't have to use call. Like, it's just that it's giving you extra damage against champs, and it's just that it's a backup weapon to use on Rivens and stuff. But if you thought like that you like the run, but you would prefer double primary, use it if you want. Like, did you notice in this run, by the way, because a lot of people challenge me on ammo stuff, right? A lot of people are like, double primary? Who uses double primary in 2024? Esoteric does. Some of the best players do. Why? Because we're solo and we're up against various champs, right? I'm not saying that his last video was double primary, but he's been a prime advocate of using double primary over the years, and there's lots of benefits to double primary. There is a con to it, the fact that you don't have a special weapon on, but you go and ask him. He'll tell you. You get more heavy ammo if you run double primary as opposed to primary special heavy. This is a fact. I have played too much hours of Destiny to not know that. It is absolute certain that you get more heavy ammo. Look at my heavy ammo. I wasn't getting many bricks in this run, heavy bricks that is, but notice how many special bricks I was getting. So what you need to understand is, if you run a special weapon, you'll get, instead of getting purple bricks, you'll get mostly green bricks and the occasional heavy brick. If you run double primary a heavy weapon, you will only get heavy bricks. So the game will just give you more of that because it doesn't know what to do. I understand the game on a coding level. I'm not a coder, but I understand what the game is telling us, right? Because if I compare one solo to this solo, I can tell straight away, oh, I'm getting slightly less ammo, slightly less than what I usually would get. So I have to adjust for that. But at the same time, you've got a rocket sidearm on. So we got a turret down, but this time we weren't allowed to aggro the Rivens. Did you see how they ambushed? But that's fine. We had a super for that. So we will use a super, right? You know, you definitely want to use it on Riven phase. It's absolute part of the strat to confirm the run. Or use a Prismatic Transcendence. That I can confirm melts them as well, but you won't be quite as resistant in a Transcendence. You do get a Transcendence resistance buff with the I can't remember, is it protection, facet of protection or whatever? Yeah, you'll get that buff, but it won't be as strong as Song of Flame. Do I know that for a fact? No, but my instinct tells me that that will be the case. Because Super Roman resistance has always been the highest tier of resistance in the game. It's always been that way. It's just part of it. It's always been that way. It's even been better than Protective Light. Yeah, you remember Protective Light, what it used to do. Well, the Roman Super gives you Protective Light. It's just because it's not branded as such. But if you think about it in your mind, oh yeah, a Roman Super gives me Protective Light. Now you're interested, right? Why do I have to tell you a key word for you to be interested? You should be interested anyways. You should be interested in knowing this stuff if you're still learning this game. So we've done well here with the double barriers, because what you need to understand with the turret is the AI of the turret, if there's two targets, it will split its aggro, and you don't want that, but you've got to put up with it. You've got to put up with it. We're going to get a fresh turret down. This champ's getting too weak. I knew that was going to happen. Oh, we tried Transcendence here. So we've tried Transcendence, the nade. It doesn't do what I want it to. Look, it's not freezing the champ quick enough, man. It would have if I was being slightly more patient, but this mini super was not a good thing for the barriers, but it was a good thing for overloads, providing that I've got a turret down. Maybe if I'd popped turret first, then Transcendence, it would have worked out. But I didn't do it like that. But again, this was the first time me testing it in a GM. This just happens to be the run that I'm posting, because I haven't got another time to run another one. Because what you need to realise is there needs to be time allocated for the run. Yep. There needs to be time allocated for the commentary. Yeah. There needs to be time allocated for the editing of the video. So you see how the time is now 3 times the amount of time that it would take somebody else to upload the video. So I need to allow for all that stuff in my night and then go to bed. So I'm in a rush to make this. So it is what it is. We can't always, like I say, live and breathe Destiny. Sometimes you've got to make adjustments, and at least I'm still getting a solo GM out for people day one. That's my argument. So, and I'm providing commentary. I don't know if there's any other solo GM commentary runs up right now. There probably isn't, because there's not enough people that even do this to start with. So I'm pretty confident on that. There probably isn't, or there might be one run. There's 1 or 2 players I could imagine that's probably done a commentary run on this, and that's maximum, by the way. So overloads didn't push together, but the second one pushed shortly after. But our turret was still up, and we had a back end of a Song of Flame to use. Golden. If 1 super equals 2 overloads killed, you are 10 out of 10. You're pulling your weight. You really are. But if you only kill 1 overload and the other overload hasn't pushed, you're going to be out of your Song of Flame super. So you're going to need to account for that to do your other playstyle, which would be turret down round corner, proc overload poison with Love and Arc, switch to the call, do a shot, switch to bait and switch LMG, and then melt. And the turret will keep you safe somewhat. Maybe pop a rift, on top of that to back up that you don't die, and then you'll be able to kill the overload that way. So this loadout, everything's versatile about it. Whereas the sword would be really good niche application for the overloads, but that's all it would be good for. It would be terrible for barriers, Yeah, it would be terrible for doing assisted damage against Rivens. It would be just bad for everything else. So therefore, it would be sort of like a mini wasted heavy slot in this case, because our super deals with everything. Our Transcendence can deal with stuff. So we've got, let me see here. If we get a turret down, we've got multiple ways to take an overload down. And that's what it is. It's a tick box exercise, like I said before. Overloads. How many ways can we kill them? If we have more than one, we're doing good. Now with the barrier, we only have 1 to 2 ways of killing them. Well, 2 ways technically. The turret with the bait and switch LMG, and the Song of Flame super to pop Radiant. That's our 2 main ways. But barriers are never the problem in this, generally speaking, because they're not the ones that push you. Overloads are the problem. So you need to, right, let's say let's put it to percentage. Let's say that our loadout is 70% overload and 30% barrier based. That's what the split is. It's catered that way because the overloads are the main threat. If the barriers were the main threat, then I would go the other way with it, and then you run Outbreak Perfected, etc. But that isn't the case. So we got turret down, and we popped Transcendence because I didn't have a super. So here we go. Let's see what it's good. So it's really good. The nade's doing good damage. As long as there's a turret down, we're halfway there. The other overload, I don't know where that other overload is though, but there's a bunch of fanatics in mid. We'll use Transcendence to kill them with the nade, which is doing a good job of that. We've also got Devour going, but we need to establish where that final overload is, which this is what I was on about earlier. It's not a good, here we go, he's in mid, we're good. Same strat as before, routines, just like how you make your bed in the morning, same thing. Get a turret down, strafe to the left, turret down, Song of Flame. It's definitely worth using it, even if it's only on 1 overload. It's still worth to use a Song of Flame to commit and confirm the overload kill, because if you don't confirm it, chances are you might be dead, and if you're dead, you've wasted 39 minutes. You go to orbit, you're pissed off, you go and make a drink, you might be the last run of your night, and you save it and sleep on it till tomorrow, and we don't want that. That's exactly what I was thinking. Seriously, I'm not being freaking sarcastic. I was like, I need to confirm this kill because I've only got 1 run in me tonight. So how would somebody play if they only had 1 run in them? This is the run right here. Yes, it's 50 minutes, but I've just said to you, how would a player play if he only, if somebody like said to you, right, you've got a chance to do a solo GM, I'll give you 50 grand if you get it done in 1 go. How would you play? Think about it in your mind. Where you would commit to everything, and you would make sure everything is perfect. Whereas if you're just playing and the stakes are low, then you would do everything wrong, or you wouldn't care too much. But when you're under pressure, time, you haven't got the time, you start to like think, well, how can I consistently do this? And you'll ask yourself it. Because you'll be like, damn, I put kids to bed, it's 9 o'clock, I've got 2 hours and want to go to bed at 11 o'clock, I'm up at 5 in the morning. How can I get this done before 11 o'clock at night? And that will be the question. That's the everyday man and woman questions that D2 players would ask themselves. Whereas YouTube content creators and streamers aren't asking themselves that because they haven't been to work. They've been at home drinking G Fuel while you go to work and do a job, a real job that is. See the difference? They've got all day, you haven't. So you need to adjust your strats as a result, and you can do it in Destiny 2. I've been doing it for years. I've been showing you the strats a long time on the everyday working people who play this game. I've been showing you the strats. This is how you play if you're limited on time. But you also need to put in the time over the course of a month, 2, 3, 4, 5 months to build up your skill over time, and your body, your whatever input method, like if you're on the sticks, then your hands will adjust over time to it. You'll get better and better and better. Now, if you're on PC, that's different because it depends on what you like with keyboard and mouse, isn't it? But I suppose it's the same thing with that. You'll get better and better and better with that. But the everyday working people for Destiny 2 aren't on PC. They're on console because consoles are cheaper than building a PC. So it comes back to, let's show the everyday people, not the specialized people. I don't need to show the specialized people because they know what to do already. And that reason is why I've stayed on console ever since. That is the main reason why I've stayed on console. because I can't teach. I don't have any affiliation with PC players as much. I don't know. There's not as much of a connection for me to them. I know a lot of PC players, and I'm friends with a lot of them. But like on a gameplay basis, I know the exact differences between the two, and I know how the strats need to be adjusted as a result. And that is science. It's not opinion. It's science. That's exactly what it is. Because use a lot of PC players are using a full entire arm, right, to move their mouse, whereas controller players have two thumbs. What's stronger, two thumbs or a full arm? You tell me what's better, what's more precise. Because that is science. You can't argue science. That's what I love about science. You can't argue it. No matter who you can't argue it. Succumb to it. You cannot argue. Right, we're on Riven phase. We haven't got super, but we're just about to get it. So we pop super right now. We're going to push past this Hydra because we don't want to do damage to the Hydra. That will spawn in the next double Rivens. You're going to set yourself up for disaster if you do that. So pay attention to not freeze the Hydra and the Rivens on top of each other, because your super will do AoE damage to both targets, and you can spawn in the next set of Rivens. And if you do that, guess what? You know you don't have a double super. There's no exotic in the game that gives you double super. Do you know something? They should make an exotic to do that. I've just give you an idea. Imagine if they made an exotic where you could charge 2 super bars. I think that would be pretty awesome. I think that would be absolutely class doing that. So the exotic wouldn't give you any benefit other than charging an additional super bar. So you would have 2 super bars and a transcendence bar. I think they should totally do that. But they would have to make a neutral exotic across all 3 characters, so that all 3 characters can get, Titan Hunter Warlock can get this exotic that I'm referring to. I think that's a good idea, because you could save supers. So the penalty would be that you don't use your super for ages because you're charging 2. But when you do get the 2, you could use them back to back, and you know that would be amazing. I think. Would it break DPS stuff? Maybe. But don't you think Prismatics broke the game as well? So where's the line? There's no line, because they're giving you buffs and debuffs on one character. So, like, what they've already committed to the power fantasy. So where does it stop? You know, who are you to say, oh well, if they do that, it's too OP? Well, isn't what they've already done too OP? You know, I didn't want a buildcraft game. I never wanted a buildcraft game like this. I do want a buildcraft, but not to be like the focal point. I wanted gunplay to take prevalence. You know that. I've actively spoke about that in public for ages. I wanted gunplay to take prevalence, but they took this direction of buildcraft, and that's how it's gone. So if you're like a buildcrafter fanatic and you say to me, oh, your ID is ridiculous, having an exotic that grants 2 supers, I don't think so. Having a turret up with Arc Soul is ridiculous, is it not? What's the difference? Where's the line? There's no line now. They've crossed the line. D2 is more of a frantic gameplay style now. It's not a accurate, stable FPS that's all about strategy. It isn't that game anymore. It's slowly changing over time to be something else. It's starting to be like a Borderlands game or something. It's starting to be like that, where abilities are more important and stuff like that. And that's where we're going with it. And I'm just saying that, like, for people who are obsessed with guns, we're in a tight spot, because to me, guns is everything, and I want guns to be the prevalency. I really do. So we're on the final set of Rivens. We're going to do the same thing as before, folks. Turret down. We have a super for them, and that's perfect. So what I mentioned before about my plan. So with Destiny 2, we're in GM season now. Obviously, that's my season. That's where the strength is. So I'm still going to upload D2 stuff. It's going to go to the main channel called Chablo 91, as you see here, and you've seen it and digested it over the years. So important stuff like new dungeons, new Grandmaster Nightfalls. Well, not new Grandmaster Nightfalls, but new stuff or hard things to solo. It's going to go on the main channel, the Destiny 2 stuff. However, seasonal content, I'm not going to be like majorly covering and like going obsessed with it this year from 2024 to 2025. So I'm only going to really cover the main stuff, right? On my other channel, Chablo 91 Endgame, which I may link down below, I might not, if people are interested, because I'm going to be heavily covering the game, the First Descendant, on the 2nd of July. It'll be the entire month. It'll be longer than that. Like, if the First Descendant gains a community, right, then I think I might be involved with it, or try to get involved with it in a big way. Because Destiny's run its course. We've had the 10 years. We've had our closures. I feel as though I've had a closure. Yeah, and the D2 content creation space is heavily monopolized by these big YouTube streamers, right? So even likes of me or some of the best players in the world still cannot pierce the market for Destiny 2. Players like ATP, Salta Grapo, Vendetta, all these world-class players, they're not getting the views. They're absolutely not getting the main views. The other people that are getting the views is Datto, Astacross, Matix, players like this, who are also, they're all good players, but they're not world-breaking players. They haven't, they're not like world-breaking, defining players. Snazzy Rock's a world-defining player. Is he getting massive views? He's getting somewhat quality views, but he should have way, way more subs. Like, he should be having 100k subs, 200k subs. Salta Grapo had to have 3 or 4 raid belts, whatever he got. He's still not at 100k subs on YouTube. And his views are low on Twitch, to analyse it, and they shouldn't be. It's outrageous. So what I'm saying to you is, the Destiny 2 content creation space has been monopolised by the big guys, by the Datto Does Destiny. Okay, that key word, Datto Does Destiny. He hit lightning. He caught lightning in a bottle in 2014. And the rest of us have paid for it since, because none of us can make headway in the game. And it says this. Datto's a clever fella. He's very smart. But like, the rest of us can't, like, sustain in this whatever this is, because it's Datto's faults. Why always Datto's faults? Do you not think he's out of touch with the game a little bit? Do you not think we all can get out of touch with the game, but do you not think he is in particular for the amount of views he gets? Like, anyone with high subs in this game, you need to hold people accountable in this life. And people what pisses me off, people hold me accountable for minor shit, for minor stuff. So why aren't you holding the big boys accountable for stuff when they make errors? Why is it all of a sudden okay if they don't do this or they don't do that? Do you see what I'm saying? So that's what honestly really does piss me off. Like, how many years is this going to take to be successful at for the more niche players who are good at the game, your ATPs, your Vendettas and stuff? How long is it going to take them? Half of their life? It's going to take 30 years to get good for subs? How good does one have to be to break the market? Because I'm really, like, starting to question it. How long? It might be that long where it's not even worth time investment in, because by the time 2025 rolls around, technology is up. Better games are coming up. In 10, 15 years' time, we might look at Destiny 2 like we did at Super Mario Bros. In 92. You don't know what's going to happen around the corner. So this game isn't forever. It's been a fantastic game, but it's not forever. That was the solo GM on this. Really consistent with this loadout. I hope you enjoy. Thank you.